What if you were given a front row seat to the absolute collapse of your entire world? And then, in the midst of that despair, the sky itself tore open. That's exactly what happened to a man named Ezekiel. And the experience changed him forever. Imagine being a priest in Jerusalem during the Babylonian exile. Your city has been attacked. The best of your people, including you, are taken into exile hundreds of miles away in Babylon. Everything you know is gone. You feel abandoned by God and hope is a distant memory. That was Ezekiel's reality. And then suddenly, out of the blue, the vision hits him. It's a whirlwind of fire, of strange creatures with multiple faces, of wheels within wheels, all covered in eyes, all moving in a chaotic symphony. High above this terrifying spectacle is a throne, and on it, a figure glowing with a brilliance he can barely describe. It's overwhelming. And then God speaks to him, uttering words that would change Ezekiel's life forever. He tells him that the glory of God, the very essence of divine majesty, is appearing not in the holy temple, but right here in the heart of their enemy's land. In other words, God is showing up where he's not supposed to, defying all expectations and assumptions. But the message doesn't end there. God reveals that he hasn't sent him to be a comforting presence. He's not there to offer solace or reassurance. No, Ezekiel is appointed as a watchman, a role with a grim responsibility. He is to tell his people hard truths, truths that will likely not be well received. They are broken, bitter people who don't want to hear unpleasant realities. They want comfort, not corrections. They want hope, not hard truths. But that's precisely what Ezekiel has been called to deliver. The passage goes on to describe how God gave Ezekiel various symbolic actions to perform, actions that must have seemed utterly absurd and humiliating. For example, he instructs Ezekiel to lie on his side for over a year while facing down the east. He's to cook his food over dung, among other strange acts. Ezekiel's life becomes a bizarre living parable, a constant performance of obedience and trust. And then the news arrives, confirming everyone's worst fears. Jerusalem has been completely destroyed. Any remaining hope is dashed against the rocks of reality. But amid this despair, God shows Ezekiel something even more shocking than the first vision. He takes him to a valley filled not with life, but with dry, sun-bleached bones. They are scattered and lifeless, a grim reminder of death and decay. God looks at him and asks a haunting question: can these bones live? It's a question that defies logic, a query that seems to mock hope. How can something so dead ever live again? But then comes the most unexpected answer, the answer that turns this bleak scene into a powerful image of resurrection. God instructs Ezekiel to prophesy to those bones. He's to speak words of hope and restoration to what is essentially a pile of trash. Prophesy to the bones, God says, and they will live. So Ezekiel does. As he utters these prophetic words, something incredible begins to happen. The bones assemble into skeletons, the dry bones begin to be covered with sinew and flesh, but they are still lifeless corpses. The rattling continues until every bone finds its place, and they are now complete. But they're still dead. The real miracle happens when Ezekiel is told to prophesy to the breath. He does, and the wind rushes into them, and the dead valley is filled with the sound of life. A vast, living army stands where there was only death. The impossible has happened. The bones that were once dry and lifeless are now full of vitality and movement. This dramatic display is not just a spectacle. It's a powerful symbol of God's promise. It's a tangible demonstration of his words: I will put my spirit in you, and you shall live. Through this experience, Ezekiel learns a profound lesson. God is not limited by location. He's not confined to temples or restricted to certain places. In the bleakest moments of their exile, when hope seemed lost and despair loomed large, God showed up in the most unexpected way. He used the impossible scenario of talking to dry bones to convey a simple yet profound truth. If he can breathe life into a valley of dry bones, he can bring hope back into any situation, no matter how dead it might seem. The story of Ezekiel is a testament to the unwavering nature of God. It's a reminder that when circumstances point to absence, faith sees the bigger picture. It's an encouragement to trust in the character of God, even when life's winds threaten to scatter and dry our bones.
Fountain pen Faith Tales, where Bible stories come to life. Bell subscribe for more timeless truth, told like never before.